Hello and welcome to another Impossible Creatures commentary. It's your host Beachamp, and I am with the Impossible Toaster.
I am here too.
And today we have a 1v1 on vacation. This was sent to me by DVDx3 or DVDx2. He likes DVDs, not VHS, and it's with him and Mutt, who's one of our veteran players. So here we go. We have Mutt in the top right and DVDx2 bottom left. This is being played on Tellurian 2.6.3.1, available on the Steam Workshop. So it seems like tiny inefficiency here in the build order. Kind of has an idle rod placement.
Yeah.
Plus,
Did he get idle lab time from that?
yes, he did.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Um, but very honestly, it looked very similar to what I do for my build order, which, that being said, is inefficient.
It doesn't make a huge difference though, but there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, we'll see kind of what times he's going for level 2. So Mutt coming in early with the scout. This scout, so it's seeing the enemy lab around 1 minute and 30 seconds, and getting an idea of if the enemy has one or two, lightning rods, if they have a creature chamber already, possibly for a level 1 rush, or maybe they have a single lightning rod and a ton of henchmen, so they're going for a slower build order. Mutt over here mining coal a little bit more efficiently. There's less crowding for his henchmen. This is something that I do on vacation as well.
And
So
then
you
he
can see
does
some
that
henchmen here
fancy,
just wait
does the
around.
fancy little fence off up there by his creature chamber.
Yeah, so there is up here, Mutt has these two little fences, which I was confused about at first, but they actually prevent enemy creatures from going in this way to get to his lab. So now they would have to go all the way around to get to his lab. So it protects his henchmen mining here a little bit, and allows them to get to the space and build a soundbeam tower if necessary.
So what do you think about that rod? The one he's building over to the left.
This rod I think is a good rod because you're going to build it anyway, and it is kind of thwarting attack move a little bit. So creatures that do attack move will attack this lightning rod. Whereas, do they attack fences if you just attack move? I think they might just go around fences.
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can't really just put a fence there. And so it's very helpful for getting creatures to attack that are attacking you to attack this before your henchmen. You have a little bit more time to react. Looks like DVDx3 has built a fence off here. He decided that this fence wasn't what he really wanted to do, and built this one up here, which is much better because it gives him access to this, and it gives him some flexibility of having some water access here in case he loses south. But really, we're looking at a really good situation for red. A short skirmish down here showed Mutt that this is not available for him to expand to, and his henchman just went over here and saw that he doesn't have this either. So he's looking at a pretty tough situation in terms of his economy. Sending in one unit just to test the waters. But from this standpoint, I mean, red also not being extremely aggressive, despite having clearly more units and way better economy to back up a continuous attack. Especially considering that there is some stink going on. He keeps building ranged units, which is perhaps okay if you have an overwhelming number of them.
But does he know about this thing yet? I don't think he does know.
Um, I thought he did already, but I'm
I
not.
don't think he's seen the stink yet. But actually, if you could pause the game for a minute.
Uh huh. Where's the pause button? There it is.
So one thing I thought about was the extra coal in your like main base on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever build a workshop to mine that? Because
I will eventually, especially in a situation like where Mud is in right now. I think he should build a workshop so we can convert resources. He doesn't have. He only has 3 rods, so he's probably not going for the electricity game. But for me, I really like to convert resources, especially early game, because I think it gives you an advantage. What are your thoughts?
well, yes, if you don't have a workshop already and you just need one for resource conversion, that's the best way to put it because you don't have another expansion. But if you already do have one, like Arpit has, do you think he should build another workshop there for efficiency in mining? Or do
I
you think you should just keep long distance mine?
I think that eventually that's a good idea, especially once you get yoke and you are kind of out of expansion options. But I think it would be more worthwhile to spend about the same amount of resources on a generator or on forwarding your expansion up here, just to collect more ground. So but I have done that just to do it. Give me a little safety net as well as increase efficiency because I think that it does about double the mining rate of the henchmen here, or conversely require half of the number of henchmen to be mining. Good to unpause.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. We'll see what Mutt does here, kind of backed into a corner with less resources. Arpit really should be attacking, or DVDx2 should really be attacking. Here the stink comes into play.
Then he backs off.
Yeah.
So
Stink,
he's gaining
Cloud,
some ground here.
yes. Which is
And
really good that this little attack, even though with fewer units, did push red back a little bit. And now he kind of so hitting level 3 then was also blue just now. Looks like looking here, red is still on his way to level 3.
but he's still denying the expansion.
Yeah, he is.
So he must have quite a bit more resources like, in total
At this
than Mutt
point,
has at this point.
certainly he should. And it looks like, see, with 9,000 electricity, this is actually something that we should note. Sorry, not 9,000 electricity, 9,000 health. That means he's completed advanced structures research, yet he hasn't built a research clinic yet. And I think building a research clinic and getting that electricity upgrade is pretty crucial, especially since he has the room to do it with his resources right now.
Yes, that's my like go-to order of doing things. Get the advanced structures, then hit research level 3, and while I'm going up to level 3, I research the electricity.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's a big. It's like 25 or 50%.
50% electricity
50%.
boost.
That's really big.
Yeah, and it just continuously can be converted at a slight loss, but that's really all right. Uh, DVDx2 here making sound beam towers, which is really helping with the a little bit with just seeing where these sink dug units are. But of
I
course,
think this is where the big fight happens.
when they start using defensive cloud, then sound beam towers are actually ineffective inside
Oh
of the
yeah, this is a
cloud.
big fight.
Yeah, and then the level 3s coming from Mutt here are just coming through and tearing through all of these level 2 units in a big way. And actually, you can see that red and blue both have these same level 3s. Walking stick ostrich is very good.
And he could keep using Stink here if he had more units to keep shutting
Yeah,
down those towers.
he's waiting on that endurance. But yeah, stink here would be a big help to. He's used it up here to mitigate damage from these sound beam towers. Also, the regen helps a lot for these walk switches to take additional sound beam tower damage.
Can you use Stink from underground or is he popping them up?
No, he's using it from underground.
I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. And this is where he kills
A
most of
lot
the
of the
henchmen.
henchmen.
It's a very
Um,
dire situation.
yeah, so especially here, building a sound beam tower kind of right between these rods would have been a big help. He might have been. I can't imagine him being low on resources in this situation. Maybe he was, however, because
Hmm.
there's not a ton queued up here. Um, but perhaps that's the situation. Oh, it looks like he is defending back a little bit, but he's lost all
Yeah,
of the henchmen at his lab.
he's cleared up the attack, but now his economy has been severely disrupted and
Yes,
crippled.
and on the other
But
hand,
meanwhile, Mutt has just claimed that expansion finally. He had so many henchmen ready to go. He'd pre-built them, and he was just waiting to get that expansion and start mining with all of them straight
yes,
away.
yes, he was so ready for it too, which is great. And it looks like you can see Mutt here, being a veteran, places a single scout unit in case there are any henchmen that try to come over, build a sneaky creature chamber through the water. He's also building a sound beam tower.
Look at Arpit's lab real quick. I want to see if he's going up yet. No, he's not.
Not yet. And then compare that to like Mutt isn't going up yet either. Looks like Mud is now just getting grid and henchman sights, binoculars. Arpit's getting binoculars as well. And Mutt is getting henchman speed. Before Yoke, it looks like. Oh, there's Yoke here. It might just have been due to resources. Clicking
So,
one
do
over the
you
other.
think a double research clinic is necessary?
I don't think that it's necessary, but I think that if you have the resource to spare, then and you don't think that there's going to be an attack, like there's a pretty passive time period right now, pretty well defended, then I would go for the double research clinic. Because it just allows you the flexibility to be getting yoke, and then let's say you get attacked and you want to get a tower upgrade, um, or a building upgrade, then you can get those a little bit faster.
Yeah, I sometimes get it, but mostly when I've delayed the advanced structure research for a long time, if I've gotten stuck in a long level 2 fight, and I just want to get my upgrades real quick. Otherwise, I just get one and I keep it working.
Yes. And the other thing for me is I often forget that my research is done, and so I'll do two researches and then they'll sit idle for a while. And so it's kind of nice having two because it gives me a little bit buffer when I do have down periods. So
Oh, this is where he's target firing the ground because he
yes,
knows that those ostriches are somewhere.
yes, and he doesn't
I
have
think he ended
any.
up running through it and taking damage.
It looks like this guy taking any damage now. So
No, no, the ostriches.
oh, the
Like
ostriches,
they come.
yes,
Yeah, they actually got hit. Oh, look at that. That's unfortunate. They can only attack with one.
yeah,
They can't go underwater.
yeah. Darpa does a good job here retreating and kind of creating a little wall here. Smut does not have any amphib units at this time in the game.
So they've gone back into this kind of standstill
Yeah, it's pretty passive
like they
right
had
now.
earlier in the game.
Except now it's much more even in terms of map control. And I guess if we pause quickly, knowing Mutt just hit level 4, I believe. What do you how do you kind of evaluate the current situation? Does it seem like there's a lot more favor on Mutt's side or on Arpit's side, and kind of what do you think the losing side could do to try to get some ground back?
Well, in terms of total resources, Arpin had like the extra expansions for quite a long time, and I think he built up like quite a bit of like resource advantage. But then he lost some of that when his henchmen got cleared out. So I think that's evened out mostly. I'm not sure like where the numbers would end up if you did an exact comparison, but I think they have similar like overall resources at this point. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say I would hope that both players are trying to deplete their resources and not holding on to a bunch of idle resources, which makes me think that during that level 3 attack where Mutt did a lot of damage here, that our pit might have been kind of low on resources at that point because he had been using them all for whatever reason. Um, Perhaps on level twos or something that got wasted. So I'm not sure exactly if he has a bunch of stockpiled resources. And at the current time, it looks like Mutt has a little bit more resource efficiency. Oh, maybe it's about similar actually.
Do we
Um,
know if they have a leg upgrade? They should, right?
I Mutt definitely does. I am not sure about what DVDx2 has.
Assuming they have their upgrades, I think they're both getting the same kind of income right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if anything, right now, I think that the control over this center water portion might put DVDx2 at an advantage. Mutt's just hit level 4. DVDx2 is almost there. So this could really be anyone's game. I think one thing that I would do if I were red to turn the tides would be to use these archer fish and take advantage of the fact that you haven't seen any amphib units at this point. Clearly, if there were amphib units, then they would have, kind of gone through and attacked or something in the middle. But actually, take these archer fish around here and start attacking these henchmen.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Because
Yeah,
otherwise, I think those archer fish are detrimental in terms of comparing army compositions. Because currently, on ground, they would just lose. The fact that they're amphibious is like the saving grace of those, because they'd be dead weight if they were ground units.
yeah,
Because they
exactly.
run
They
over.
don't pair well with these melee, and on top of that, the enemy has stink. So, um, yeah, I totally agree. And then something, I suppose, blue wise. I'm not really sure if there's anything that blue could do to get a huge advantage at this point besides take advantage of that level 4 factor. Um, since it does seem pretty well guarded, it doesn't seem to have any amphib units to make a huge push, which I think is why we had that time of passiveness. But it looks like we have some lobster coming right up. And the thing that I love about this is that this unit just came out, the very first one, and is completely upgraded. And
Yeah.
so Mutt was just completely ready, really putting this genetic amplifier to work and making sure that um, these were ready to go. And so compare that to level 3 units. You have a fully upgraded level 4 right when level 4 comes out. That's going to be a huge advantage, even though red did just get level 4s. A little choke point here is pretty beneficial for red because, of course, he has the creature chambers as well as some soundbeam towers to give a better attack arc. And
I
these,
think that was a mistake, leaving those archer fish out to dry. They could have retreated.
yeah, they really didn't get anything done. They attacked a building that didn't end up getting destroyed and didn't do anything. They didn't even do damage to those units. And these are regen units anyway. It looks like up here we also have some action going on. A few lobster we're enough to break through these fences, which are unupgraded. Looks like red also has lobsters. Bull lobsters, great level 4 unit, but they're unupgraded, so you can see the huge difference already in stats. 481, 51 defense versus 233, 40 defense. I mean, that is just a massive difference, right? Of course, I'm sure there's a difference in cost, but unit for unit, looks like blue's winning. And wow, did not even catch that red going level 5. At this point, I'm not sure that was a really good decision, considering he's really let himself getting taken over by, at his one expo up top, and he's not doing so well here. Those extra resources could have been used to defend his base a little bit better. What do you think?
It made him really vulnerable. I
And
mean, it could have worked, but it was like a Hail Mary move. It was a big gamble.
and so perhaps this is what you were talking about earlier. There were resources saved up, and he wasn't using all of his resources. I think that red perhaps could have been a bit more aggressive with those resources. The fact that he was able to go 4 and then basically an immediate level 5 um, kind of means that he could have done a bit more, like we're thinking with an attack through the middle, kind of the archer fish going around the sides, taking advantage of that amphib.
Or you mean to say that you think he's been floating resources throughout the game rather than just
Yes.
saving it for 5?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Oh.
Because he was able to get that level 5, or sorry, well, by floating, he was floating and saving for 5 at the same time, perhaps. But the fact he was going 4 to 5 means that maybe he was
I
floating a
mean,
lot.
usually you can get 4 to 5 just from the resources you gather while going 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're
that,
not
that could be
spending.
the case if you since they weren't spending a lot and they weren't combating a lot.
Like these level 5s, they're getting a lot done, but I think it's too little too late.
Yeah.
I think if he'd stuck to level 4, I think he could have saved his expansion and maybe prolonged the game.
Yes. Also, really, he didn't really have any defenses of that expansion besides a few soundbeam towers, um, which went down to barrier destroy very, very quickly. And then here, these alb wasps
Yeah,
coming in pretty hot. See any of them
that
use?
makes it even worse. Like he did go 5, and then when he hits, turns out Mutt has assassinate.
Yeah.
So, like with those in mind, it
Oh,
definitely should have gone stayed 4, but he couldn't have known.
no, he couldn't have known. And then he just um, he blew his lab right here. So, with that, that was a really good game on both sides. I think the key takeaways, if I have one or two, would be not taking advantage of the amphib units and then not being aggressive enough on Red's part. And then, of course, I guess level 5. Do you have anything to add, Toast?
No.
Great. So, good game to both players, and thank you all for watching.